Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive with us. Today we're going to be taking a look at driving instructors and driving schools in Ireland. And specifically, we're going to be focusing on automatic driving lessons.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah, because that's what our listener requested. And we always try to cater our deep dives to what our listeners are looking for. Our main source today is a website called Xpert Driving Instructors.
Which seems to be like a directory or resource for folks in Ireland to find driving instructors.
Yeah. Looks like a really thorough resource.
Yeah. So we're excited to kind of dive in and see what we can learn about the automatic driving instruction landscape across, the various counties in Ireland.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see automatic transmissions becoming more and more popular.
Yeah.
And, not just in Ireland. I think this is a global trend. But this data from Xpert Driving Instructors really kind of highlights that shift.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's the convenience factor, especially for new drivers. But I'm wondering if there's maybe something more at play here. Yeah, I think you're right. It's not just about simplicity. I think there's a bit of a cultural shift happening as well. Automatic cars are increasingly seen as the norm, and I think that perception influences learners' choices. And also it's interesting to note that, advancements in automatic transmission technology have actually made them more fuel efficient and even sportier.
Right.
So a lot of those old myths about them being sluggish or less engaging to drive are really starting to disappear.
That's a great point. Okay, so let's look at this list of counties and the number of instructors offering automatic lessons. Dublin's in the lead with 30 instructors. Is that just because it's the most populated county?
I mean, that's definitely a contributing factor. Higher population density usually translates to greater demand. But, think about Dublin's traffic conditions, too. I mean, they're notoriously congested. And navigating those streets in a manual car, especially as a learner, can be really daunting. So an automatic just makes that whole learning process less stressful and more efficient, which is probably a big selling point in a busy city like Dublin.
That makes total sense. And then we've got Cork with 14 instructors, which is, a pretty decent number, too. But what about these counties with only one instructor listed? We've got Leitrim, Monaghan, Offaly, Sligo, Tipperary, and Wexford. I can't imagine it's easy to find an automatic driving instructor in those areas.
Yeah, it definitely presents a challenge for those learners. And it potentially creates a barrier to entry, especially for individuals who might require automatic instruction due to physical limitations or learning preferences. And it raises questions about accessibility and equal opportunities in learning to drive.
Right, that's a really important point. Limited access to instructors could mean longer wait times, higher costs, or even having to travel to another county for lessons. Not exactly ideal. Speaking of instructors, let's dive into some individual profiles and see what we can learn.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's see who catches your eye.
Okay, so first up, we've got Ivan Agar from AA Driving School in Dublin. And his profile mentions a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you're not happy, you don't pay. Wow, putting your money where your mouth is. I bet that attracts a lot of nervous learners.
Yeah, it's a really powerful marketing tactic. It suggests a high level of confidence in his teaching abilities and probably helps build trust with potential clients. It also kind of implies a focus on personalized instruction, making sure the learner is comfortable and progressing at their own pace.
Interesting. Okay, then we've got Zoltan Kerner from UDrive in Cork. And what's fascinating here is that he offers both manual and automatic lessons, but isn't the trend, pretty clearly shifting toward automatics, especially for new drivers. So I'm kind of curious, what drives this decision to offer both?
That's a great question. It could be a strategic move to cater to a wider range of learners, including those who might still prefer or require a manual transmission for specific reasons. Perhaps there's like a niche demand for manual lessons in Cork, or maybe Zoltan just sees value in maintaining those skills, even as automatics become more prevalent. It's also possible that offering both types of lessons allows him to charge different rates, maximizing his revenue potential.
Right. Those are all really good points. It's like he's hedging his bets a little bit.
Yeah.
Catering to the present while keeping an eye on the future. Okay, let's head down south to County Kerry. Florence Foley from Killerglen Driving School has the lowest listed price per hour, just €40. So I'm curious, what are the implications of these pricing variations across different instructors and counties?
Well, pricing can be influenced by a variety of factors. It could be a reflection of local market dynamics, competition among instructors, or even an instructor's experience level and qualifications. Lower prices don't necessarily mean lower quality, But it's always wise to kind of consider what's included in that quoted price. Are there additional fees for things like fuel or car rental? Does the instructor offer package deals or discounts? It's important to compare apples to apples when you're evaluating your options.
Right, you're not just looking for the cheapest instructor. You're looking for the one that offers the best value for your investment. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about Des Ward from Kildare Driving Academy. His profile really stood out to me because he offers lessons for a range of license categories, from your standard car license B all the way up to trucks CCE and buses D.
That's impressive. It speaks to his versatility and expertise across various vehicle types. Suggests that he might be targeting kind of a niche market, perhaps professional drivers or those looking to kind of upskill their licenses for career advancement.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious about those different license categories. What are the challenges involved in obtaining those higher level licenses?
Well, each license category has its own specific requirements and challenges. For example, to obtain a Category C license for driving rigid trucks, you need to pass both a theory and a practical driving test, which is significantly more demanding than the standard car driving test. The theory test covers topics like vehicle safety load security and regulations specific to commercial vehicles. The practical test assesses your ability to handle a larger and heavier vehicle, including maneuvers like reversing and hill starts. And as you move up to categories like CE for articulated trucks and D for buses, the requirements become even more stringent, reflecting the increased responsibility and complexity involved in operating those vehicles.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. It really highlights the importance of choosing an instructor who has the specialized knowledge and experience to guide you through that process, especially if you're aiming for a higher level license.
Absolutely. And it's not just about passing the test. It's about developing the skills and confidence to operate these vehicles safely and responsibly on the road.
Right. So what does this all mean for you, our listener?
Well, it seems like the landscape of driving instruction in Ireland, particularly for automatic lessons, is quite diverse.
You've got a range of choices, from national driving schools to independent instructors, various price points, and even instructors who specialize in certain license categories.
Yeah.
Or vehicle types.
Right. But as we've discussed, there's more to consider than just those basic details.
Absolutely. And that's where those additional services that many instructors offer can really make a difference. For example, we've seen several instructors listing EDT.
Right. Liam Barry from Liam Barry School of Motoring. Des Ward from Kildare Driving Academy. They both mentioned it. But what exactly is EDT? It sounds pretty important.
It is. EDT stands for Essential Driver Training. And it's a mandatory program in Ireland for learner drivers. It consists of 12 one-hour modules designed to equip you with essential driving skills and knowledge, covering a range of topics like hazard perception, eco-driving, and night driving. That makes a lot of sense. So it's not just about learning to operate the vehicle, but about becoming a safe and responsible driver.
Precisely. EDT is designed to ensure that learner drivers develop those crucial skills in a structured and comprehensive manner.
So can you tell us a bit more about those 12 modules? What exactly do they cover?
Sure. So Module 1 focuses on car controls and instrumentation, making sure you understand all the buttons, knobs, and gauges before you hit the road. Module 2 is all about starting and stopping safely, mastering clutch control, and those all-important hill starts. Module 3 delves into driving in traffic, covering topics like lane discipline, overtaking safely, and anticipating hazards. Module 4 is all about hazard perception, training your eyes to scan the road for potential dangers.
Sounds pretty intense, but essential, obviously.
Absolutely. And we're just getting started. Module 5 focuses on driving at night, dealing with reduced visibility and fatigue. Module 6 is about adverse weather conditions like rain, fog, and ice. Module 7 covers sharing the road with vulnerable road users like cyclists and pedestrians. Module 8 is all about eco-driving, teaching you how to drive efficiently and reduce your fuel consumption.
Wow, this EDT program is really comprehensive.
It is, and there's more. Module 9 focuses on speed management, understanding speed limits and adapting your speed to different road conditions. Module 10 is all about overtaking and lane discipline, mastering those tricky maneuvers safely. Module 11 covers motorway driving, preparing you for higher speeds and multi-lane traffic. And finally, Module 12 brings it all together, focusing on driving independently and developing good driving habits for life.
That's incredibly thorough. It sounds like EDT is a crucial part of the learning process, not just a box to tick.
Exactly. It's about building a strong foundation for safe and responsible driving.
Okay, moving on from EDT. Another service that caught my eye was the Pre-Test Plus Car Hire package. We saw this with Kildare Driving Academy, Safe Motoring School, and a few others. What's the advantage of that?
Convenience, mainly. The pretest helps you get familiar with the test route and conditions, reducing anxiety on the actual test day. And having car hire included eliminates the hassle of finding a vehicle that meets the test requirements.
It's like a one-stop shop for your driving test preparation. Very convenient. Finally, we noticed that a couple of instructors, D&P Elite School of Motoring and Carey School of Driving, were offering gift vouchers. I guess you could say they're gifting the gift of freedom in a way, the freedom of the open road.
That's a great way to put it. It's an interesting marketing angle, suggesting that driving lessons are becoming increasingly viewed as a valuable and practical gift, perhaps for birthdays or graduations.
Right, it's like giving someone the keys to their future independence.
Exactly.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here, but I'm already sensing that there's still so much more to explore.
You're absolutely right. And this leads us to an important question for you, our listener. Considering the rise of autonomous vehicles, how do you think the role of driving instructors might evolve in the future?
Whoa, that's a really thought-provoking question. It's like we've been focusing on the current state of driving instruction, while this whole new world of transportation is emerging on the horizon.
Exactly. It's fascinating to think about how self-driving technology could reshape the landscape of driving instruction. We might see a shift from traditional driving skills to a more specialized focus on interacting with autonomous systems.
So instead of teaching someone how to parallel park, instructors might be teaching them how to safely engage and disengage autopilot, or how to respond in emergency situations if the autonomous system malfunctions.
Precisely. There might even be a need for instructors who specialize in the nuances of different autonomous vehicle systems. Much like how we see Dis Ward catering to various license categories and vehicle types today.
That's a really interesting parallel. Imagine having to choose between a Tesla driving instructor and a Waymo driving instructor. It's almost like picking a brand preference.
And it wouldn't just be about brand preferences. Different autonomous systems might have different levels of autonomy, requiring different levels of driver intervention and understanding. Instructors would need to stay up to date on the latest advancements in self-driving technology and tailor their instruction accordingly.
It's mind-boggling to think about all the potential implications. And it's not just the technical skills that might change. The role of the instructor itself might need to adapt.
Absolutely. Think about it. Right now, instructors are primarily focused on teaching practical driving skills. But as autonomous vehicles become more prevalent, there might be a greater need for instructors who can educate drivers about the ethical and societal implications of this technology.
That's a really important point. I hadn't even considered that aspect. So they'd be less like a coach and more like a guide, helping learners navigate this complex new world of autonomous transportation.
Exactly. They might need to address questions about liability in accidents, data privacy concerns, and the potential impact on employment in the transportation sector. These are all complex issues that will require informed discussion and understanding. Instructors could play a crucial role in bridging the gap between the technology and the people who use it.
It's almost like they'd be teaching a new kind of driver's ed, one that focuses on the ethical and social responsibilities of using autonomous vehicles.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to imagine what those lessons might look like.
I agree. It could be a whole new curriculum, covering topics like algorithmic bias, the impact of autonomous vehicles on urban planning, and the potential for increased accessibility for people with disabilities. It would require instructors to have a broader understanding, not just of driving, but also technology ethics and social impact.
Wow. It seems like the future of driving instruction could be just as multifaceted and diverse as the range of instructors we see today.
Indeed. And it highlights how important it is to be adaptable and to embrace lifelong learning, not just for drivers, but for instructors as well.
Okay, before we get too carried away with future predictions, let's circle back to the present and some of the key takeaways from our deep dive into expert driving instructors. What are some of the biggest things that stand out to you?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is the sheer variety of options available to learners in Ireland, particularly those interested in automatic driving lessons. We saw everything from large driving schools like AA Driving School to independent instructors like Florence Foley and Carey, and prices ranged from €40 to €60 per hour, with a variety of package deals and additional services.
Right, and we can't forget those additional services like EDT, the pretest and car hire package, and even gift vouchers. It's like the driving instruction market is evolving to meet the diverse needs and preferences of learners.
And that's just for the standard Category B license. Remember, some instructors like Des Ward offer training for a wider range of licenses and vehicle types, catering to those who want to drive trucks, buses, or other specialized vehicles.
That's true. It's a buyer's market out there, and learners have a lot of choices to make. But as we discussed earlier, price isn't the only factor to consider. You want to find an instructor who is a good fit for your learning style and your specific needs.
And that's where those little details in the instructor's profiles
Yeah.
can be incredibly valuable.
Like Ivan Agar's 100% satisfaction guarantee, or Zoltan Kerner's decision to offer both manual and automatic lessons.
Precisely. These details can provide insights into the instructor's teaching philosophy, their commitment to customer satisfaction, and their ability to adapt to individual learner preferences.
So the takeaway here is to do your research, compare your options, and choose an instructor who you feel confident will guide you on your journey to becoming a safe and competent driver.
Excellent summary. And remember, whether you're learning on an automatic or a manual, the ultimate goal is to develop the skills and knowledge to navigate the roads safely and responsibly. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be learning from an instructor who's preparing you for a world of autonomous vehicles.
Okay, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of driving instructors in Ireland. But before we sign off, I have one final thought for you, our listener. We've talked a lot about the learner's perspective. But what about the instructors themselves? What kind of future do you think they face in this rapidly changing world of transportation?
That's a great question. It really gets to the heart of how technology impacts not just industries, but the people within them.
Yeah, those are some really good points. It's interesting you mentioned those specialized areas like driver rehabilitation or defensive driving. I can definitely see those becoming more prominent as the demand for traditional driving instruction, potentially declines. It's like driving instructors could become more like specialized coaches, helping people refine their skills and adapt to specific driving challenges.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. And think about the potential for instructors to leverage technology in their teaching methods. We already see virtual reality simulators being used for pilot training. Why not adapt that technology for driver training? Instructors could create realistic simulations of hazardous road conditions or challenging driving scenarios, allowing learners to practice their skills in a safe and controlled environment.
That's a brilliant idea. It would be especially helpful for practicing things like emergency braking or evasive maneuvers, which can be kind of risky to practice in real-life traffic.
Exactly. And think about the potential for personalized instruction using data and analytics. Imagine an app that tracks a learner's driving habits and provides feedback to both the learner and the instructor, highlighting areas where they need improvement or offering customized training modules.
It's like having a personal driving coach in your pocket. That level of personalization could really accelerate the learning process and make it more efficient. But I also wonder about the human element. Will technology eventually replace the need for human driving instructors altogether?
That's a big question. And I think the answer is probably not a simple yes or no. Technology can definitely enhance the learning process and make it more efficient. But I believe there will always be a need for human interaction and guidance, especially in a field as complex and nuanced as driving.
Right, driving is not just about technical skills. It's about judgment decision-making and understanding the unpredictable nature of human behavior on the road. Those are things that are hard to replicate with technology alone.
Exactly. And there's also the element of motivation and encouragement that a human instructor can provide. Learning to drive can be challenging, and having a supportive and experienced guide can make a world of difference.
It's like the difference between watching a YouTube tutorial and having a personal trainer. Both can teach you the basics, but the personal trainer can provide tailored guidance, motivation, and feedback that's specific to your individual needs and goals.
That's a great way to put it. Ultimately, I believe the future of driving instruction lies in finding the right balance between technology and human interaction, leveraging the strengths of both to create a more engaging, efficient, and personalized learning experience.
Well said. That's a perfect note to wrap up our deep dive into the world of driving instructors in Ireland. It's been a fascinating journey exploring the current landscape and pondering the exciting possibilities that lie ahead. I hope you found it informative and thought-provoking, and that you're feeling well-equipped to navigate the road ahead, whether you're behind the wheel or simply observing the evolution of transportation. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep those wheels turning.